I was reaching for the serving spoon when I saw it, my name, my handwriting, on documents I had never signed. Rhiannon Cole stood at the sideboard with her husband, Spencer, their heads bent close over the stack of trust forms. Spencer traced the loops of my forged signature with the tip of his finger. Rhea whispered, "Once the trust clears, we finally get a clean start. Just act normal tonight." I froze, my hand hovering above the roasted carrots like I had forgotten how to move. They didn't look up. They didn't even hesitate. They just kept working, calm and confident, like they had practiced it. I swallowed the shock, forcing my fingers to curl around the serving spoon. "Dinner smells lovely," I managed, keeping my voice soft. Spencer straightened instantly. "Oh, Marjorie, we were just, sorting some papers." Rhea nudged the documents under a napkin. "Nothing important, Mom. Just house stuff." I nodded as if I believed her. I took my seat across from them, folding my napkin onto my lap while my heartbeat throbbed behind my ribs. My name was still visible under the corner of the napkin. Even crooked, the forged signature mocked me. "Mom, can you pass the bread?" Rhea asked. Her tone sugar-sweet. I passed it. I smiled. I kept breathing. Then my phone buzzed against my leg, one sharp vibration, the kind I never ignored. I slid it out just enough to read the message glowing across the screen. "Unauthorized access attempt detected." Action logged. The words blurred, but I didn't react. I tucked the phone away and reached for my glass. Spencer lifted his wine. "To family," he said. I lifted mine too. My hand did not shake. My voice did not crack. I had spent 72 years learning how to stay polite while my world shifted under my feet. They believed I was unaware. They believed they were ahead. I let them believe it. I smiled, steady and quiet, and made a simple decision behind my calm expression. I would watch exactly how far my daughter was willing to go. How many mistakes from the past returned to demand their payment. I sat at my kitchen table the morning after the dinner, the fraud alert still glowing in my mind. The steam from my tea curled upward, soft and harmless. Nothing like the sharp memories that pushed their way back in. "Mom, you forgot to sign it," Rhea had once said, waving a field trip form in front of me. She was 9, her backpack half unzipped, hair sticking out from a rushed morning. I took the paper, pen poised, when her teacher, Mrs. Lane, stepped onto the porch. "Already taken care of," she said gently. I frowned. "But I have not signed anything." Rhea froze. Mrs. Lane hesitated, then lowered her voice. "It was a small thing. She said you were running late." I did not want her to miss the trip. She touched my arm. "She is a bright girl. Just impulsive." Rhea looked up at me, her smile too big, too eager. I just wanted to go. "Mom," that was all it took. I let it slide. I told myself it was harmless. I told myself she needed a break. Back then, I worked 2 jobs after Daniel died, archiving documents at the Historical Society by day, shelving books at the library in the evenings. Savannah's warm nights carried me home, but exhaustion trailed behind me like a shadow. Every time Rhea asked for something, guilt whispered that I owed her more than I could ever give. "You keep lifting her over every obstacle," Bea Harrington once told me from her porch, leaning on the railing like she had been waiting for me to understand. "One day she will stop seeing them as obstacles and start seeing them as your job. She is just going through a phase." I answered, but even then, my voice lacked conviction. Bea shook her head. "If you keep excusing her, she will learn to take without asking." Years later, sitting alone at my kitchen table, I felt those words land harder than they ever had. The forged signature at dinner had not come out of nowhere. I had been teaching Rhea, without meaning to, that consequences were optional. What finally forces a mother to protect herself from her own bloodline? I remember the afternoon clearly. I had just retired from the Savannah Historical Society, sorting old grant papers when I paused on an article about elder fraud. A woman in her 70s had lost everything to a family member who swore they were helping her. The headline sat in my mind long after I closed the file. That same week, I walked into the office of Mr. Lionel Graves, a man whose voice carried the calm weight of someone who had seen the worst and prepared for it. His suit was simple, his manner patient. "Mrs. Winslow," he said, motioning me to sit. "Tell me what brought you in. I need to make sure my daughter never feels pressured to take care of me financially," I said. "And I need to make sure no one can misuse what I have left." His eyebrows lifted slightly. "You want protection from every direction, including within the family." "I want peace," I answered. He pulled out a folder. "Then we set up an irrevocable trust. Your assets will be untouchable without your explicit instruction. We can also create a decoy account with $1 in it. Anyone trying to pry will hit that first." He tapped the page. "And we install a digital alert system. Any attempted access is logged and sent directly to you and to my office." It felt like armor being built around me, piece by piece. Then he paused, studying me. "There is one more thing," he said, "to prevent future challenges. I recommend notarized mental competence assessments. They protect you, and they silence anyone who may try to argue you were coerced." The words struck deeper than I expected. "You think I will need that? I think you deserve to be protected," he replied gently. I signed every document with hands that trembled, but did not hesitate. When we finished, Mr. Graves placed the folder in front of me with quiet certainty. "You have done the right thing, Mrs. Winslow." As I walked out of his office and into the warm Savannah air, I felt the weight of every decision pressing steady against my chest. What if the very safety net I built became something my own daughter would try to tear apart? How does a parent recognize the moment their love becomes someone else's loophole? Ria called one afternoon, breathless and dramatic. "Mom, the rent jumped again. We are drowning. Could you help just this once?" I could hear Spencer in the background, muttering something about deadlines and stress. I agreed without thinking. Old habits cling tight. 2 days later, Bea Harrington tapped on my door with her phone raised. "You seen this?" she asked. There was Ria smiling wide, posing with a new designer bag. The caption read, "Rewarding myself today." My stomach dropped. When I called her, she laughed. "Mom, it was on sale." "Sort of." She brushed it aside like it was nothing. "Anyway, Spencer thinks we should invest. Maybe a boutique yoga studio. People love that stuff here." Spencer took the phone. "Marjorie, if you co-sign a small loan just a few months, we can launch fast. It is a no-risk opportunity." "A loan?" I asked. "Why me?" "You have reliable credit," he said plainly. "And you trust us." I felt something shift inside me. "No," I said. "Not this time." There was a long silence before Ria spoke. Her voice dripped with disbelief. "No, really, yes. I cannot help." Her tone hardened instantly. "Fine. I guess we know where we stand." After that, her calls became shorter. Her visits felt rehearsed. She stopped hugging me goodbye. One evening, Bea sat across from me at my kitchen table. "They are using you, Marjorie. You are their emergency fund, not their mother anymore." I tried to defend Ria, but the words tasted hollow. Bea rested her hand over mine. "If you do not change something, they never will." I nodded. Though the truth stung, deep down, I knew Bea was right. The moment I finally said no, I saw the look in my daughter's eyes: shock, insult, disbelief, and something colder underneath. How calm can a person stay while watching their own betrayal unfold in real time? The dinner plates were barely on the table when Ria leaned forward. Her smile stretched thin. "Mom, we should really talk about updating the trust paperwork. Things change. Families change." My hands stayed steady as I unfolded my napkin. "The paperwork is fine," I said. Spencer cleared his throat. Avoiding my eyes, a bead of sweat slid near his temple. "Well, some documents get outdated. It would be easier if everything matched the new plans we discussed." "We have not discussed any new plans," I replied. Ria waved her hand. "Mom, please, you know I have been helping with your digital documents for months. Half of your files are chaos. You should be grateful someone keeps things organized." The words hit like a quiet blow. She said them casually, as if accessing my laptop without permission was a favor. "Helping," I repeated, keeping my tone flat. "Yes," she said quickly. "Just sorting old forms. Nothing major." Her eyes flicked toward the sideboard where the forged papers had been minutes earlier. "We just want to make sure everything moves smoothly when the time comes." Spencer reached for his wine glass, nearly knocking it over. "She means well," he muttered. I watched them both, neither of them able to look directly at me for more than a second. So much energy for my paperwork. I said simply. Ria stiffened. "We are trying to take care of the family, Mom, but you make everything difficult." I let her words hang there. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I didn't accuse. Instead, I offered a small smile. "Thank you for dinner." Her jaw tightened. Spencer looked confused, relieved, anxious, maybe all at once. I gathered my purse and walked to the door. No rush. No trembling. Outside. The night air pressed gently against me as I reached my car. I drove away in silence, past Savannah's dim streetlights. My heart cracked open but steady. The truth waited somewhere in the next sunrise, and I would meet it without closing my eyes. When the mask finally slips, who faces the truth more painfully, the thief or the mother? The phone rang just after sunrise. I had barely slept. "Mrs. Winslow," Mr. Graves said without greeting. "There was an unauthorized access attempt at 8:42 last night." I tightened my grip on the receiver. "From where?" "From the Coles home internet," he answered. Paper rustled on his end. 2 attempts. The first tried to open the decoy account. The second included an uploaded scanned signature. "It matches the one we filed months ago." My breath stilled. They used the old documents. They certainly tried. He said, "Everything is logged. My office and the bank were notified immediately." I thanked him softly. He hesitated before hanging up. "You prepared for this. Mrs. Winslow, do not doubt yourself now." I set the phone down, but it rang again almost instantly. Ria's name flashed across the screen. I answered. "Mom," she snapped, "why did you not say anything last night? You saw the papers. You saw what we were doing." I kept my voice steady. "I did." "You just sat there," she said, her words shaking. "You could have talked to us. You could have helped. Instead, you made things worse." "I did not make anything worse." "You let everything blow up," she cried. Now the bank froze the account. And Spencer is panicking. "This is a disaster. It is not a disaster for me." I said. "Why are you being like this?" she whispered. "Why didn't you speak up?" I closed my eyes and let the words come out low and certain. "Game over. Ria." Silence pressed through the phone. Not even breathing. Then the line went dead. A few minutes later, B knocked on my door. "You look pale," she said, stepping inside before I could protest. "Tell me." I told her everything: the forged documents, the alert, the phone call. B listened without interrupting, her jaw tightening as each detail fell into place. They finally exposed themselves. She said quietly. I nodded, though my chest felt tight. The trap they built had snapped shut, and they had no idea how much worse it was about to get. How far will someone fall once they begin lying to protect a lie? The petition arrived in a thick envelope stamped with urgency. Rhea and Spencer claimed I had been mentally manipulated by Mr. Lionel Graves. They argued I was too old to manage my own estate, that someone must have coerced me. Bea read it out loud at my kitchen table, shaking her head. They are digging a grave they cannot climb out of. A month later, we sat in a Savannah courtroom. Rhea wouldn't look at me. Spencer whispered in her ear, rehearsing whatever story they had prepared. Their lawyer rose, smooth and confident, and declared, "Mrs. Winslow lacks the capacity to understand the legal documents she signed." Mr. Graves stood calmly. "Your Honor, we have evidence to the contrary." He approached the bench with a stack of folders. "Here are notarized mental competence assessments, dated and signed. Here are the timestamps from every meeting, email confirmations, recorded instructions, read aloud and acknowledged by Mrs. Winslow." Their lawyer objected, but the judge waved him off. "And this," Mr. Graves continued, "is the digital log of 2 unauthorized access attempts from the Coles home Wi-Fi. One attempt included a scanned signature belonging to Mrs. Winslow, uploaded at 8:42 in the evening." Rhea's face drained of color. Spencer straightened, clearing his throat. That was a misunderstanding. It was not the first time. The judge said, she lifted another page. "This log shows an attempted personal loan application 4 months ago using Mrs. Winslow's digital identification. The request was flagged and denied." I stared at Spencer. "You did that?" I asked softly. He did not answer. Their lawyer stumbled through a final plea, but the damage was done. The judge leaned forward, her voice firm. "This court finds no merit in the claim. The trust stands. All allegations against Mrs. Winslow and Mr. Graves are dismissed." The gavel struck. The sound felt like a door closing. Rhea stood abruptly. She did not meet my eyes, not even when I whispered her name. She walked out of the courtroom as if I were no one at all, leaving only the echo of her footsteps behind her. What costs more, losing your savings, or losing the illusion of family? The messages began the same night the court ruling came down. "You destroyed us. Dad would be ashamed of you. You chose a stranger over your own daughter." Each one came fast, sharp enough to sting even though I had prepared myself. I sat on the edge of my bed, reading them with a heaviness that settled deep in my ribs. Before I could reply or decide not to, the next message appeared. "You owe us another chance." I set the phone aside and pressed my hands together, trying to steady the hollow feeling in my chest. The next morning, I met with Pastor Miriam Avery, a counselor I trusted. She sat across from me in her small office, her voice warm but unwavering. "Tell me what feels the heaviest," she said. "I keep hearing her as a child." I admitted, the way she used to say, "Mom, I need help." "I hear that voice every time she asks for anything." Pastor Miriam nodded slowly. "And how many times did helping her hurt you before I could answer?" She opened the folder I had given her earlier. "These debts," she said gently. "You covered them when she was in her 20s. I exhaled shakily. "I thought she was in trouble." She said it was an emergency. "But she never paid you back," Pastor Miriam said. "Not judgment, just truth." "No," I whispered. "And I never asked." A memory came back, Rhea calling from a parking lot, crying that she owed nearly $3,000 on a credit card she had hidden from Spencer. I paid it that same night, driving across town with the cash. I never told anyone. I never told her no. Pastor Miriam closed the folder. "You kept saving her, Marjorie, even when it endangered you." Her words settled into the room like a slow-moving truth. That evening, Bea came over with a cup of strong tea. "Give me the phone," she said. When I hesitated, she added, "You are not cutting her out. You are cutting the harm out." She held my hand as I blocked the number. My thumb hovered for a moment, then pressed the screen. Final. Quiet. I felt the grief rise, a deep, aching grief, not for the money, but for the mother I had been and the daughter I thought I had. But beneath the ache, something else moved. A small shift, a breath. When a door finally closes, another waits somewhere ahead, patient and steady, even if I cannot see it yet. What does true justice look like when you stop protecting the people who hurt you? I spent the next week gathering everything. Screenshots, statements, the digital logs, the court transcripts. Each page felt like a small bruise, but I kept going. I had protected Ria for so many years that the simple act of protecting myself felt unfamiliar, almost fragile. When the folder was complete, I walked into Bee's kitchen and set it on her table. She looked at the stack, then at me. "You sure?" "Yes," I said. "It is time." Together, we scanned every document and sent them to two places: Ria's employer's ethics board and Spencer's corporate compliance department. I expected silence. Instead, both offices responded within 48 hours. 3 days later, Ria called Bee's phone, screaming. They took my title. They said I cannot oversee finances anymore. Someone sent them lies about me. They were not lies, I said from Bee's living room. Ria's breath hitched. "You did this. You always wanted to humiliate me. I wanted you to stop hurting people." I said, "Including me." She hung up. Another message came from Spencer, but I did not answer. His company sent an email that same afternoon. He had been terminated for financial misconduct. They cited documented attempts to access private accounts using forged identification. Bee let out a low whistle. That man did this to himself. A week after that, a local paper ran a feature on the new program I had funded in Daniel's name, the Winslow Initiative for Senior Financial Safety, workshops, hotlines, free legal consultations, everything I wished I had known sooner. The article praised the idea without naming Ria or Spencer, but Savannah is a small city. People whispered. Some looked at me with quiet sympathy. Others looked away entirely. That evening, as I folded the newspaper, my phone rang one last time. Ria's voice cracked the moment I answered. "Mom, why did you do this to us?" I held the phone carefully. "I did not do this to you. Ria, you did." There was no yelling this time, only a soft, broken breath, then silence. I blocked the number, gently, the way someone closes a door to keep out the cold. Later, I walked alone along River Street, the winter air brushing against my face. The river moved quietly, steady and certain. For the first time in years, my chest felt open, unburdened. If you are listening to my story, like it, leave a comment, or subscribe, because someone out there needs to know that choosing yourself is not cruelty, it is survival. When you finally choose yourself, is it revenge or simply freedom at last?